Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now here, my Kuiu Pro 6000 backpack. I covered this in a prior video, but today, well, 6,000 cubic inches, 98 liters of capacity. I don't quite need this large of a backpack for an upcoming trip. I need to strip this down, slim it down, and well, I'm gonna swap it out for another bag. But here, the Pro 3600. Not quite as large, not quite as many features, slimming this down, simplifying just a bit, again, for an upcoming trip. So what we're going to do today, we're going to change out this 3600, get it mounted where the 6000's coming off, 3600 in. But what's it going to take to do that? How are you going to approach it? Well, there's only one way to figure that out, and that's to get into it. And so when we get back, we'll figure all of this out. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, if you like what you see here today and you'd like to get yourself one of these great Kuiu products, I don't care if it's their outerwear, their hats, their jackets, maybe it's their underlayers or their mid layers. Anything Kuiu is going to be fantastic. So from their gear and apparel all the way through their backpacks, take a look in the description box below where you can get more details. And so as we get into this again, out with the old, in with the new, well, we have to figure out how to remove this. It's pretty straightforward. I've had Kuiu packs in the past, but you just kind of got to pay attention to the details. Now what we're ultimately trying to do is remove the bag itself, both from the suspension, so the waist strap and the shoulder strap system, and then to the frame. So if you're familiar with Kuiu products, they base everything on the frame, which is a carbon fiber frame. They call this the Comarat spread toe carbon fiber, which is really a proprietary system, and that's the heart of this bag. So as we get into this, we're going to do a few things. You can see all these different areas where the pack is clipped in. So we're going to remove the straps, so the load lifter straps from the top here, pulling that back, pulling this back. You can see in this particular location, the bag is actually clipped into the frame. So we're going to unclip here and unclip here. So that's nice. Now the frame itself is sitting in these little pockets. So you can see, actually I'm going to loosen all this up because it'll make it easier to deal with in the end. But again, the bag is sitting in these little pockets. So once we get this fully loosened up, we'll be at the point where this can actually come out. Your compression straps along the side, you can see these are actually woven into the frame itself. So the compression straps on the side are also to hold the bag in. So that's dual purpose right there. So on both sides, let's see here, that's pretty straightforward. So now the side of the bag is getting loose. Down on the waist belt, so you can see here, this large clip there and here. So removing that, which exposes these clips which are now on the underside. So you'll notice here again, the bag is clipped down into the waist belt. So we're going to remove here and here, which leaves pretty much at this point just the simple straps which come up and into here, which these are clipped in. So these are a little quick connector. That's just kind of helping keep everything tight on the bottom of the bag. These aren't difficult, just a little bit tricky. You can see the webbing's just a little bit folded over there, but fiddling with it, it should come out. That is actually not a bad thing, because the last thing you want is clips like this falling out. So again, just fiddling with it just a little bit, but that will come out. Now I'm going to point out something that's worth mentioning while we're here, and that's the fact that on this particular bag, again being the 6000, there are two sets of loops. So there's the inner loops and the outer loops, and these clips were fashioned to the inner loops. So that is just something to consider. But at this point, the bag now sliding off these pockets, so the frame, coming out of those pockets, and we are free. And for the first time, you're able to see the full carbon fiber frame so beautiful, just gorgeous the way this is made. You can see how they've managed to integrate all of the sort of harness system and all the clips and everything into the frame. It's just a wonderful product. The way they make this is absolutely gorgeous. Beautifully done. Now introducing the new bag. So you can see here, this is the Kuiu Vias pattern, which I personally love. I think it's just a great pattern, very effective camo. I love this pattern. First thing I'm going to do is make sure that I get this well seated onto the top of these stays here. So on the frame, keeping the straps nice and straight and everything aligned. So getting that into place. Folding this over, I'm going to kind of start from the bottom and then work my way up. So you can see here, you end up with the clips here. So basically getting these into place and clipping up there. And again, up into here. So that's on the back side of the bag. So you see the back side of the bag now. Making sure nothing's twisted. Pulling this down, cinching it down. Getting that part right there nice and tight and taut. That's going to keep this part in the pockets. So now that that's nice and taut, this bag cannot come off of the frame. So to me, that's really the start. It's getting this nice and tight. And then you can take these clips and reintroduce these over the top. Again, I'm going to the middle of the two. So you can see here with these loops, just getting those into place. And I'm going to keep everything nice and cinched down. So cinching that down. That way I don't have a ton of fabric that I'm contending with. If I need to loosen things up afterwards, I will. But here you go. This little clip here, you can see, does need to go down and onto this loop here. So that's pretty straightforward. That's very simple. Just clipping that into place. And that just keeps, again, everything nice and cinched and tidy. Compression straps on the side. Just going to get this all made up. And you'll see right away, this bag starts to pull into a nice, tight, and compact carry, which is awesome. I love that about this. I love that about Kuiu products in general. I do oftentimes when I'm backpacking talk about the fact that I like a bag that sits between my shoulder blades, and this is certainly going to do that. And keep in mind the fact, and I need to sort of let you know that my intent for this bag is more for the backpacking genre than it is for the hunting genre. I'm less into hunting and more into backpacking, and that's just my personal needs. Clipping the bag back into the frame on the top here, and just cinching that down. And then also here. This one seems a little funny to me. I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of this is, but again, just staying the course here. And the load lifter straps going back up to the top. Simple. There you go. And at this point, everything should be pretty well made up. Now, this is probably going to take just a little bit of adjustment for me. I do need to sort of get this fit out to my body at this point, making sure everything's comfortable and just sitting the right way with the harness system and all that stuff. But I am now pretty well good to go. You'll notice there's some little extra webbing on the straps. I'm just tucking that down, making sure that everything's good and flat the way it needs to be. And at this point, I'm in pretty good shape. Getting a quick look at how this all fits. So let's get this all loosened up here. Okay. So again, this will take just a little bit of adjustment for me to get this right, but right away, feeling pretty good. Of course, it's all going to change once I actually have some weight in here. So that will certainly impact this. But that's a good start. You can see that this frame is very rigid. In fact, I don't know if you can see the space behind my back, but literally full air there. And once this is cinched down, on my waist. I mean, you literally barely even need to use the straps. I mean, this thing is so rock solid. It's crazy. So at this point, I mean, I think this is what it needs to be just to get me started to the point where I can fully build out my kit for my upcoming trip. But this is going to work pretty nice. And look how thin a profile between my shoulder blades when I have this fully cinched down. That's what I love about this system. It's absolutely fantastic. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at swapping out the bags on a Kuiu Pro system. Next for me, bringing this 3600 out on an outdoor and mountain adventure. Now, there was one last thing that I realized sort of off camera. I did clip up the waist belt. So you'll notice that, you know, as I was getting this set up, I did manage to forget clipping these up. So keep that in mind. That's the one last detail. But other than that, fairly straightforward. Now, keep in mind, again, Kuiu does provide instructions, so these do come with a small instruction manual. I do personally believe it's easier to kind of watch somebody do it because it's not incredibly easy to tell by what they have in the instructions. But all in all, pretty straightforward. This bag is just awesome. Nice and slim between the shoulder blades, fitting awesome, and I am absolutely pumped. Cannot wait to get this out for my outdoor adventure. And so again, much more to come with these Kuiu bags. I hope that was informative. And if you like what you see here, look in the description box below where you can find links to where you can get your hands on one of these. Again, this system is going to be a buy once, cry once system. But I can tell you, after owning these, absolutely magnificent, just beautiful bags, carry wonderfully, and are well worth the investment. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.